In this video we will install Microsoft SQL Server. So basically just go to Google, search for SQL Server, and then just go to the home page. And here on the home page for the SQL Server, just select Downloads. And then here you can choose between different versions of SQL Server. We will use this free version called SQL Server 2025 Express. So just click here, Download Now, and the installation file will be downloaded to your Downloads folder. So here is the installation file. Basically just double click on it in order to start the installation. Click Yes. Here you can choose between different types of installations. Typically you want to choose this custom, so select custom, click install, and now you are starting just to download the installation packages. So it typically takes some time. So after the installation packages has been installed on your computer, just so this window pops up, then select new SQL Server standalone installation, etc. Just click on this link and the installation of SQL Server will be starting. Here just need to accept the license terms, click next. There are no updates for SQL Server found, so then just click next. And then here you get a warning about the Windows firewall. Typically you can turn off the Windows firewall during the installation, but typically it's no problem, so just click next in order to start the installation. Here you get some information about Azure extension for SQL Server. If you prefer, you can install this, but typically you just want to install a local version of SQL Server Express, so I just remove it and then just click next. And here you get an overview of what you want to install. Typically you need to install this local DB, and basically those is not needed, but typically I just leave the default installation here and the local DB, and then just click next. And then here you can select the name of your SQL Server. Either use the default one, MS SQL Server, or you can use this named instance, which is just basically SQL Express. Here you can select whatever name you want. So basically I just select a name for my instance. I just use SQL Express. Typically you can use whatever you like, and then just click next. So here you get a list of different services that will start when your computer starts. So typically this SQL Server database engine is the most important thing. Select it to automatic. It means that it will start when the computer starts. You may also choose the same for this SQL Server browser. So then select automatic like this, and then just click next. Here this is important. You can choose between different authentication modes. The default one is Windows authentication mode, but in general I recommend to choose this mixed mode. Then you get the possibility to use different types of authentication, either SQL Server authentication, which is a built-in authentication system in SQL Server, or the Windows authentication. So then make sure to select mixed mode. Then you get both SQL Server authentication and Windows authentication. If you select this mixed mode, you need to specify a password for this default system administrator account, shortened SA. So then just make sure to specify a password for this SA user or account that you need to remember for later, because later when you are logging into the database you need to use this SA password. So make sure to select a password that you remember and then just click next. And now the installation of SQL Server will start. So after a short while the installation is complete and all the features has been successfully installed, as you see here. Then you can just click close in order to close the installation. So now we have installed the SQL Server itself. The next thing you need to install is this SQL Server Management Studio. This is a package that you need to use in order to do the management of the SQL Server. You can use it to create databases, install or create tables, run SQL queries, etc. So basically just click on this link, install SQL Server Management Tool. When you click on this link, you just go to a web page where you can download this SQL Server Management Studio. So here you have this link, download SQL Server Management Studio. Just choose the latest version and then just click on it in order to start the installation. The installation package is downloaded to this downloads folder, which you see here. So basically just double click on it and then click yes. Then continue. Yes, continue. Just wait a few seconds. This Windows pops up. So basically just you can choose this tool, AI assistant, etc. So I choose to include this one, AI assistant, code tools. Yeah, so I select those two and then just click on the install button. And then this software will be installed, SQL Server Management Studio, and 22 is the latest version. So after a while, the SQL Server Management Studio has been installed. So basically you can just close this one and you can close this one. And now let's start using the SQL Server and the SQL Server Management Studio. Then you just go to the start menu, so type SQL Server, and then you see this SQL Server Management Studio. Just select this one in order to start the SQL Server Management Studio. Here you have different options. You can sign in with a Microsoft account, etc. I just skip and add accounts later. So I just select this one in order to start this SQL Server Management Studio. So then this connect window pops up. So now you're ready to start connecting to your local SQL Server Express. Then either you can select or specify the server name here, which you specify during the installation, or you can go to browse to search for local installation here. I just choose to use SQL Express, which was the name I entered during the installation. And here you have authentication. Here you can either use Windows authentication. If you choose Windows authentication, you don't need to enter a username or a password. If you choose SQL Server authentication, you need to specify this SA user and the password that you enter during the installation. So I just click remember password and then click. I also want to trust the server certificate, so I also select this one and then I just click the connect button. Yeah. Also you want to typically here either on the encrypt select optional and then just click connect. If you're not able to connect, typically you also need to enter the name of your computer. In my case, Hans Petter / and the name of the instance of the SQL Server like this. So typically you can just type it or just select it here like this. And then this will be the full name of the server name. So name of the computer and the name of the SQL instance like this. Then basically make sure to have the correct SA password and just click connect. And now you are able to connect to the SQL Server. And then here on the right side of the SQL Server Management Studio, you have this Object Explorer. And then you can select databases. And so far, you don't have any databases. So the first step typically is to create a new database. Then basically you can just right click on databases, select new database, and here you can specify a name, assuming you want to make a measurement system. Then I can specify a database name called measurement system, but here you can specify whatever name you like. Click owner default, etc. Just click OK. And as you see, this database called measurement system has now been created in here in your database system under this Object Explorer. And then here on the tables, you will get a list of available table in that specific database, but so far there is no tables in the system. There are different ways to create tables. You can create here, select here a new query. And then you can create an SQL query to create one or more tables, or you can open an existing SQL query that you have already created in another software, or you can also manually create database tables. Basically, you can right click on the tables and then select new table, and then you can specify the different column names, assuming I want to have a table called sensor. So then you have a primary key called sensor ID, which is a data type integer. Allow null. I'll just remove this one. And here I can specify identity specification is identity. Here I'll just click yes, like this. Here, assuming I want more columns, sensor name, this could be a varchar 100 or something. Assuming I want to create a table with the sensor ID and sensor name, and then I can just click on the save button, and then this pops up where I need to enter a name for my table. So I can call it, in this case, just sensor. Click OK. And now, as you see, this table called sensor has been created here under the database called measurement system. So basically, that's how you install the SQL Server and the SQL Server Management Studio and start creating a database and different tables. You can also choose this option, a database diagram. Just click yes here. And then, assume you want to create a new database diagram, you can just click new database diagram. And then here you just specify, in my case, the existing sensor table, click add. And then you will get a graphical representation of that specific table. You can also right click, table view, standard, and then you see the different columns, sensor ID, sensor name, the data type, etc. like this. And typically also all tables need to have a primary key. Typically this sensor ID should be a primary key. So basically I can just right click here. Sorry, I can just click here. So basically I just right click here on the sensor ID and then specify set a primary key. So now this means that this sensor ID has been set to primary key, which means this is a unique identifier for this specific table called sensor. Now I can just save it. So now I just save the name of the diagram. So I can call it measurement system, and then you will find it here. So now I have created a database called measurement system. I have created a table called sensor. I also created a database diagram, which you find here. So I can double click on it, and then you see all the available tables. So here you can create more tables. But let's see how we can insert some data into that specific table in different ways. You can either click new query and then just make an insert statement in order to insert data into that specific table, or you can right click on it and click edit top 200 rows, and then you can just start entering some data here. Temperature sensor 1 or something, click enter. Let's create another sensor, pressure sensor, like this, and click enter. You can also easily change the name. So you have, and click enter. So now I have in my sensor database table, I have 2 sensor names, one temperature sensor and one pressure sensor, and they get a unique primary key, in this case 1, 2. If I create a new sensor, temperature sensor 2, it will get another unique sensor ID like this. So now I have a table called sensor with 3 values, temperature sensor, pressure sensor, and temperature sensor 2. So now I can close this one, and now I can use this new query to make a query like this. Select all from sensor like this, and then I can just click the execute button. Then you see I will retrieve a list of the data that are stored inside this specific table. So then I have sensor ID 1, 2, 3, and the sensor name, temperature sensor, pressure sensor, and temperature sensor 2. Then I can perform different types of queries here for inserting new data, deleting data, updating data, etc. So basically this is how we use this SQL Server Management Studio in order to manipulate the data inside the SQL Server, either creating a new database, creating different tables, inserting or retrieving data from specific tables like this.